beforehand. I worked for 9 years in a piano bar downtown in the West Village called Rose's Turn. I loved that job. It was my favorite job of all time. And I left it 3 years ago because I was ending a relationship with the manager of Rose's Turn, who I'd also been with for 9 years. And I knew that if I did not, he didn't kick me out or anything. I just knew if I didn't leave, I was never, we were never going to make the break because we kept falling back in and out, It was a very unusual relationship. He was Vietnamese, and I'm Jewish, so we definitely had our cultural differences. But I always figured they didn't really matter because we had so many other problems that the cultural problems just seemed to pale in comparison. But we loved each other, and he always said that we'd get married, and I thought that's what I wanted, so I stuck around. When I turned 31, I finally said, what's the deal here? Are we getting married or not? Tick, 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 tick. And he said, I'm not really ready to get married. Now, he'd been married once before. He actually had been married when I started dating him. I know. What made me think this would be a good life partner?
'Cause you're a jerked us away. He left his wife and led you astray. And after years of play, he said, no wedding day. I don't know where that came from. I just made that up right there.
Anyway, so the light bulb finally went on. I said, okay, if you're not ready after 9 years, you're never gonna, be ready. And, I ended it. Now, it actually happened to be perfect timing because he was planning a trip around that time to go back to Vietnam. He hadn't been there since he left, and he was gonna be gone for a month. So I said, okay, we'll get some real separation time under our belt. This is gonna be perfect. Now, as it turns out, breaking up with my ex was the best thing that could have happened to me, but it did not feel like it at the time. I started going through the breakup process, and I think the breakup process is kind of like delivering a baby, because you're screaming and crying and hyperventilating, and all of your friends are going, you're doing great! I know it hurts now! Just keep going! Push! Now, my friends and my family were very helpful during this period. I had one friend, I remember I started having panic attacks, and I emailed her and said, I can't breathe. And she emailed me back and said, you don't need him, you need a papered bag. Which I thought was great advice. My mother took me to a health food store, and she bought me something called Rescue Remedy. Now, does anybody know what Rescue Remedy is? It comes in a little bottle, it's got a little dropper, and whenever you're feeling anxiety, you take out the dropper, you drop a few drops of this stuff under your tongue, and it calms you down. I loved this stuff. Now, one day I looked at the ingredients on this bottle, it was 75% alcohol.
You're soaking in it.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Mom. I did have one friend who set me back, though. It was at the end of a shift, it was late at night, and I'm crying, and this friend said to me, you shouldn't miss him, you should hate him. He took your seductive years away. I can't remember who this person was, either because I blocked it out because I'd had 10 cocktails that night, but I know it was a gay man. I know it, because no woman would say that. No straight man would dare say that. It had to have been, some bitchy homo who wasn't thinking of it. And I know that I'm going to be telling this story one night, and that guy's going to be out here, and he's going to be like, yeah, it was me. I'm going to be like, yeah, fuck you. Anyway, I was a little schizo during this period. I had 2 books that I was reading simultaneously that I had on me at all times. One was called Letting Go, and the other was called How to Get Your Lover Back. And I went to another Barnes & Noble to buy that one. I went to another one, I knew to buy that. Now, the Letting Go book actually had an excellent suggestion, which I highly recommend to you all. It said to go buy index cards, and on each index card you write something about your ex that either upset you or that you hated, or in an incident where you felt bad or you felt angry, because when you break up with somebody you always remember the good stuff, and this way as you're being wistful you whip out your index cards, they piss you off, and you're back on the right track. So it really works. I highly recommend this. Now so I went to Staples, and I'm in the index card aisle, and they sold them in packs of 100 and packs of 500. And I actually stood there and went, is 100 gonna be enough? Should I buy the 500 pack? God, I miss him. Anyway. Luckily, 100 was enough, just barely, but, and I wrote them out, I whipped them out on an hourly basis, they were really helpful. 3 months after after that, I started dating this great guy who turned out to be my husband. And he was just perfect because, first of all, he was adorable, he was funny, he was smart, he could play the entire second side of Abbey Road. I'd always sort of had a crush on him. And, you know, to top it off, to add to the drama, because I love drama, he worked for my ex. And my ex had always accused me of wanting to have an affair with him. So then I was torn. There was part of me that was like, you know, the compassionate part was like, oh my God, this is gonna kill him. And then there was the vindictive part of me that was like, oh my God, this is going to kill him! 3 months after that, I threw away my index cards. I was happy, I was cured. The day after I threw out my index cards, I got a phone call from somebody who still worked at Rose's Turn.
Hi, Elaine.
Hi, Randy.
Hi, I was just wondering today if you have ever told him who you're dating now.
Ooh, no, I don't want to upset him.
Oh, you shouldn't worry about that after what he's done.
What do you mean?
He's engaged.
To who?
Some girl he met in Vietnam. Oh, she's 23. Bye.
Touche. Anyway, I lost it. I'm screaming, I'm crying, I'm digging through the garbage for those index cards. I called my friend Jennifer, like, she's like, you're doing great. Push, push. She tried so hard to cheer me up. She goes, just think of all the great material you're gonna have. I said, yeah, right, like I'm gonna sit in front of an audience full of people and tell them what a loser I am. Anyway, after talking to many friends, including my husband, I realized that, you know, I wasn't upset because I wanted him back. You know, I was much happier now than I'd been before. I just felt completely humiliated and rejected that I'd waited 9 years for this guy to propose to me, and he, proposed to somebody else within, 3 months. So, you know, my friends all told me, you know, he just wants somebody he can control, and he'll regret it for the rest of his life, and I said, okay, because I'm very gullible, thank God. So, this next song is for my ex. At first, I will admit I was a wreck from your decision. It left me rather reddish in the cheeks. After 9 years of promises, you'd had a change of heart. Then you went to Vietnam and got engaged in just 10 weeks. But now that all the smoke has cleared, I've gained new understanding. I realized that hating you was wrong. And contrary to popular belief, I am not bitter. And that's why I've written this song. I know it wasn't that you didn't love me, or that somehow I just failed to appease. You needed someone small, demure, and quiet. I just wasn't Vietnamese. No, no, I just wasn't Vietnamese. It wasn't that I was in my 30s and she was in her early 23s. It's just the fact that I knew English left a lot to be desired. I just wasn't Vietnamese. No, no, I just wasn't Vietnamese. Even I can see why this marriage is ideal for you. Now I don't know for sure, but I assume that nothing could be finer than to wed an Asian migrant. can send her to her room. I know that I was vocal about my opinions. When you say something dumb, I bet she just agrees. And it isn't that your new love almost makes you look tall. It's just that she's being mean. I should have known I'd never meet your expectations. I failed to build you up as if you were Apollo. But I told you from the heart, and you knew this from the start. I'm Jewish. I never follow. You should be ashamed of yourself. I thought we'd be together forever, but I guess that we were not meant to be. You needed someone who grew up where bigamy was legal. Is it my fault that just wasn't me? No. There were a few who told me it's because you're just a sleaze. But I know you just need a girl who always aims to please. Don't tell your brother to fire me. This song is just a tease. Now that we're both married, can I have back my CD?
Sing out, Louise!
So at first this situation left me feeling ill at ease. Oh, I was blind, but now I see the forest for the trees. I hear it's very chic to get your bride from overseas. Don't know what she's got that I don't got. It certainly isn't this.